should have set up the Twitch first. Okay, cool. Looks like we're good. Alright, well, I don't know if I'm gonna separate stream into 2 segments again today, so I haven't decided what I'm doing after. But I saw that 3 different people I watch somewhat regularly on YouTube posted videos reacting to the most recent murder by ICE. I thought I'd watch them because I haven't watched them yet, and I was gonna watch them, and might as well watch them on stream. I ordered them in length, so we'll just watch those as a reaction. I'm glad to see that this is a breaking point, at least for a lot of people. Just because maybe it can stop happening then, if people are fed up enough. We'll start with Philly D, because this is only 3 minutes long.
Alex Pretti was gunned down by ICE. He was gunned down by Trump's private police, his giddy private terrorist army. Angle after angle has come out showing this broad daylight beatdown and murder of a VA nurse who was just filming ICE and then protecting and helping a woman. An act so horrific that it's been indefensible by everyone that will actually take the minute to look at the video and not just listen or read this administration's lies, except the worst of them, right? You've got people like Stephen Miller, Greg Bovino, and Kristi Noem, and the government, the talking heads who manufacture consent for them in exchange for money, power, and access on TV and social media, and the people who pray at their feet. They called him a domestic terrorist, a would-be assassin.
It is pretty fucking crazy. I had said this in I think my reaction, and also like a TikTok I did, that I don't see how you look at the video and videos. There's like 18 different angles I've seen. I think there was like 50 something people there filming. Of varying like people have slowed it down and everything. Like you can see every part. Seen it from every angle you could possibly see it, I think, at this point. At every speed, every zoom in. There's just there's no conceivable way you can spin it. There's just no way. Like if you bother to look at it for 1 second, you're gonna see it for what it is.
Who brought a gun to inflict maximum damage on ICE agents despite every angle of video before, during, and after showing that is just a lie. He was filming, ICE escalated, they beat the shit out
this is like exactly what I said. It's just crazy.
him. It looks like they then disarmed him and they shot him in the back repeatedly. The Trump administration...
Yeah, they you can literally see them. I was because I'm such an internet shitlord. I was immediately arguing with people on Reddit when this happened, about like whether the guy in gray took his gun. I was like, he clearly took his gun, and then people started posting the close-ups and the slowdowns, and it's like, okay, it's even more obvious that the guy in the gray took his gun. Because I had some people I saw a lot of people online trying to deny that he had the gun. And I was like, we don't even need to do that. Don't even do that. He's allowed to have a gun. It's not a good excuse. It's not an excuse to have him executed by the federal government for legally owning a firearm that was holstered. We don't need to deny the existence of his gun. And the fact that he was disarmed before shots are fired is just further proof that it's an execution. Because there's no defensible reason that the agent should need to use force if he literally doesn't even have the gun?
Republicans are telling you not to believe your lying eyes. Lies so egregious that even the normies are, they've just wanted to wait this out and focus on their own lives. They're having to say, what the actual fuck? This is wrong. This can't happen here. But then things are still so far gone that you have so-called freedom lovers with their don't tread on me flags who used to preach First and Second Amendment rights going, oh, well, he should have complied. He shouldn't have been there. He should have been at home. He shouldn't have shown up with a gun that he didn't pull out, a gun that he legally was allowed to have and was registered. Though those same people will go, oh, well, Kyle Rittenhouse, he's a hero for showing up with a weapon strapped to his chest.
I haven't even bothered or thought about, like, I don't think about Kyle Rittenhouse, so I kind of forgot he existed, because he's just, like, some murdering dipshit. Like, why even waste any memory? But that's a valid point. People fucking swarmed to the defense of Kyle Rittenhouse, who did intentionally show up to antagonize and create a situation in which he could manufacture a situation of self-defense, and then used excessive force in that self-defense. And that was fully defended. That was. Like, yeah, I forgot he even existed, honestly. Fuck that guy.
And they're exposing themselves as frauds who, when they say don't tread on me, they've really just meant don't tread on us. You can tread on them, obviously. And I need you to understand, they have been projecting for years, right? Talking about these rights. We need these to protect against a tyrannical government that villainizes gun owners, enters your home without a judicial warrant, who would kill them in the streets for exercising their First and Second Amendment rights. A government that protects pedophiles and the elites who prey on everyone else. Amazing how we still don't have those Epstein files because of Trump and his goons. But
yeah, what is it? Less than 1% of the Epstein files have been released so far. It's wild. We're seemingly, in my eyes. I mean, of course, there's the purpose of rigging the election eventually, but it's amazing that we decided to terrorize an entire state and kill multiple people and injure dozens of others. Also, that our pedophile in chief can keep pretending he's not the pedophile in chief.
Who they run cover for now. Apparently, right, they were saying we needed those protections because they were thinking, well, if I was in power, that's what I would do, right? They would disregard our constitutional rights and destroy opposition, right? And all the while, you've had Trump calling the people against him animals, right? To make their murders feel normal or okay, not of a level where you have to have empathy or feel human connection. Yet every day, they are the ones who act like animals, who terrorize and kill your neighbors. These people should be prosecuted. And I mean, from the president all the way down to his faceless, nameless mass goons killing Americans with impunity and terrorizing our communities. They should be held responsible for the terror that they're bringing, for the lives that they are taking. And I will support any candidates that promise investigations. And then more importantly, because we all have eyes and ears on the evidence, prosecutions. None of this pussyfooting Merrick Garland pacing, right?
Yes, I am okay, I've been watching Philip DeFranco since I was, in high school. So it's been, 16 years or something. And I've always considered him a pretty centrist guy. I am far, 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 far to the left of him. I have seen him move farther left over time, but I would still consider him squarely libbed up. Maybe he's dipping his toes into exiting the lib box of American politics into full progressivism, of some form or fashion, but I don't think he's there yet. But I think it's a good sign when people that are libbed up are taking on with their chest, prosecute them, like the Nuremberg trials. Start making sure that we know who we need to prosecute. And abolish this criminal paramilitary organization that has been a stain on America since it was founded in, I think 2003? If you were born before 2003, you're older than ice, I think. If you can't tell, from the hairline, I'm definitely older than ice.
cannot function and move forward as a society if rot is allowed to stand and monsters aren't held accountable. You know, I've been angry and I've been vocal, but when I was
Oh
watching
yeah.
those videos yesterday, I just wondered, have I actually been angry enough? It felt like something snapped in me where I had to take a minute, because if I immediately reacted, I feel like I would have said things that I would have regretted. But also, I have to ask, like,
What can you even say that it would be regrettable at this point? Like, you can say things that are against the rules to say, I guess, or could get you an excuse to be in trouble, but we're all thinking them. We're all loudly thinking them. We all really, really know what should be done at this point. I think we're all psychic in this moment, and we're hearing each other loud and clear.
for people watching, if you're not angry, how? Why? If you are also around people who aren't angry, and maybe if they are, but they're also not speaking up, how? Why? What will it take before it's your door that they're breaking down, before it's your family they're trying to bring in on bogus charges, or your friend that they gun down in the street and then lie on their name? There's more of us than there are of them. Like, we lose and die when only a few are brave enough to stand up. That has kind of been the story of the world, and that has been the story of America.
Oh,
I know all of us have seen the video.
Not yet. Oh, okay, but this is the next one anyways. So, yeah, no, that was short, concise, and perfect, honestly. No, that was good.
Have seen the videos of.
I don't watch it legal as much. There was a period of time a couple years ago in which I had reached peak political nerd boy, and I was like reading Supreme Court like decisions because they're posted freely to download. I was reading the like Supreme Court cases and their decisions, the dissenting and majority opinions. And around that time, Legal Eagle had also had posted a few videos that were on a couple of the same ones. So I watched those to see if I was like kind of understanding what I was reading correctly. But I haven't done that in a while, mostly because like it is such a constant deluge of what felt like mostly just more little chips away of the same type of damage to our like freedoms and like Native American freedoms, Native American sovereignty. There were so many cases that year that I read that actually chipped away at like Native American sovereignty. It's wild. That was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. It's hard to remember at this point. But this guy is always seemed pretty progressive. I don't really know much out of that. He squarely on the left side of libbed up.
What is basically the execution of Alex Pretti. I've seen it from more angles and more times than I care to repeat. I'm not going to give an in-depth frame-by-frame analysis. You don't need a lawyer to tell you what you can see with your own eyes, which is that it was an inexcusable state-sanctioned murder. There is no excuse. There is no justification, and it is the latest in what is probably a long line. This one happens to have been videotaped, thankfully, by many brave bystanders. As you can tell, I'm not in my studio. I was on a plane yesterday.
A lot of angles.
God, it's cold out here. It's 0 degrees, which is still 10 degrees warmer than it is in Minneapolis right now. But in some sense, I do this for a living. I analyze the videos that are out there and think about things from a legal perspective. And I saw the first video when it came out. It was pretty clear. But with any video taken from across the street, there's some ambiguity. And but I think the second video came out. In the second video, you can hear that Alex Pretti's last words were, "Are you okay?" which he said to the woman that was next to him, who had been pushed down by the ICE or CBP officer who was acting unhinged, where Alex Pretti just has his phone out and his left arm is free. I think those were his last words, and I think those were his last acts, was trying to help the woman.
This is a commendable amount of displayed empathy and emotion. I think that it's good when people do that.
That was pushed
It
down
is healthy.
by the man in the green sweatshirt, who I think eventually was the first agent who shot him. And like I said, I'm not going to go frame by frame, but to my eyes, you know, the last thing that Alex Pretti did was to help others. And look, my legal analysis doesn't change when the victim is, you know, a bank robber or a saint. Everyone deserves the same rights. And it doesn't justify or justify less the actions of what happened, but it does heighten the loss of what happened and the people whose rights are being taken away and their lives are being taken away. So look,
Yeah, I mean, the other two didn't even get as much attention, but it's good that he showed. This is actually, yeah, the fourth, like, killing by ICE agents. These last two got more attention because it was by firearm. The other two were not. They were killings through, like, negligence and indifference towards individual situations and a lack of care. While the Renee Good and Pretti, Alex Pretti, were just executions. I think the only reason that the Alex Pretti one has honestly hit harder than the Renee Good one so far is, one, it's so shortly after the first one. So, like, wounds are already open there. But also, it's so much less ambiguous about what happened. It's so much more clear. And then the person killed is also, like, from people have, of course, dug mountains of things of who this guy was up at this point. Or, like, mountains of stuff up about this guy. People telling stories about their interactions with him. And he actually did seem like an American saint, like, as close to it as you can get. Just someone who lived to help people and protect people. So it is so exceptionally extra disastrous and horrible. But like Legal Eagle alluded to, even when they're bad people, you can't execute them. That's still illegal. Even if he was a bad person, it would still be illegal to execute him for, like, literally no goddamn reason at all.
I'm going to try and gather some thoughts, which I'm only going to do because I think a lot of people are, you know, thinking the same thing. Whether you're a lawyer or a layperson, I think we're all absolutely enraged, not only by, you know, the loss of Alex Pretti, but Renee Good and everyone else who has been, you know, pushed aside and has been caught in this web of what is clearly illegal action from our federal government. Like I said, it doesn't change the legal analysis, but it does say something that Alex Pretti and Renee Good before him seem to be the best of us. And there's a reason why they were gunned down. It's because they put themselves out there. And by God, that's commendable. And we need to continue to stand up because they did too. And look, you don't need to be a lawyer to know that their shootings were not justified. But I think we need to take a step back too to recognize that, you know, ICE and CBP shouldn't have been there in the first place. They have
No, they
right
shouldn't.
and no duty to do crowd control.
No, they don't.
To be on the front lines using weapons.
Immigration control is office work. Like, it's wild that we have them in decked out paramilitary, like, operations with less than lethal rounds, gas canisters, like, armored vehicles, ballistic vests, helmets, tactical gear, automatic weapons. Like, immigration offenses are civil violations, I'm pretty sure. He's probably going to tell us because he's actually a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that shit is a civil violation and is not even criminal. So it's like fucking crazy. And the whole lie before Trump was even elected that they were like running on is that there's a bunch of people who are doing violent crime that are illegal immigrants or illegal aliens or whatever the fuck that are just not being punished because they're immigrants. Like, that's not how it works. Like, we just fucking arrested a guy from another country and brought him into the country. We clearly don't give a shit whether you are or not from here when it comes to doling out punishments to people. Hell, we have like one of the highest incarcerated populations in the world, if not the highest incarcerated population in the world. And I'm fairly certain we've had that population since I was born. So, like, the weird lie that we're just not punishing people for actual crimes because they're immigrants is ridiculous.
Against protesters. These people should not be armed. We've sort of grown inured to it, but they are not enforcing criminal law. Even when they are enforcing immigration laws, which they are not right now, it is state-sponsored protest control of people exercising their First Amendment rights. At best, they are enforcing regulatory and civil laws. And there's no reason they should have...
Yeah, I was right. Regulatory civil laws. Like, is fucking civil. It's not even a criminal crime.
Firearms in the first place. I don't even think should have less lethals like pepper balls, and they shouldn't be using tear gas and pepper spray and bear spray on protesters. That's insane. It would be as if we gave every postal worker and every person who delivers the mail, an AR-15. They don't need it to complete their duties, and it's insane that they have been armed and are wearing flak jackets and are obviously wearing masks for no other reason than to obscure their identity and prevent accountability. Obviously, the shootings are unjustified, but the entire situation that recently Alex Pretti unfortunately found himself in, and the woman next to him, they should not have been pushed aside by these putative federal officers for exercising their First Amendment rights. They should not have been restrained. They should not have been pepper sprayed while they were restrained. And of course, they should not have been shot and murdered while they were prone and restrained. None of that. The entire situation should not have happened. 3,000 ICE and CBP officers should not have been deployed to Minneapolis in the first place. I will echo what some legal commentators have said. This is basically stochastic terrorism. If you send 3,000 untrained psychopaths with guns into a place where people are angry, where they are not effectuating the law, you don't know who's going to die, but you know that people are going to die.
Yeah, and I said that yesterday, this is the intention. They're sending people who are just like ex-Patriot Prayer, ex-Proud Boy, whatever, power-hungry dumb fucks, handing them a gun with zero training. A gun, like he pointed out, they don't even need to do their job because they're enforcing fucking civil crimes. Like civil offenses. And just letting them loose. Knowing they're like the most unpopular agency ever in a moment where everyone is mad and defensive. And while these people want to kill people, like they're frothing at the mouth. They joined exclusively because they were like, yeah, I'm gonna get to just hurt people and boss them around because I've got a walnut for a brain. A walnut with rabies.
And I think that President Trump and I think that Stephen Miller have blood on their hands because this is what they wanted. It's honestly incredible that the people of Minneapolis...
I mean, yeah, like, again, like I said yesterday, this was the intention. So this would happen. And they want a heavier reaction out of it so they can have an excuse for martial law. We also saw Pam Bondi just earlier today said she would pull out like DHS and ICE if Minnesota handed over all their voting shit. Like everything, like their health records, their voting records, their like everything even slightly to do with their voting population so that they can fucking work to rig it. How can in one hand you go, it's about criminals, it's about immigrants, they're doing crime, and then in the other hand go, and we won't stop it if you let us rig the election? You just can't have both. One of them either has to be the actual goal or the other one is an excuse to achieve the other.
In Minnesota have shown as much restraint as they have, and that they have not taken the bait and they have not responded to violence with violence. And that's incredible. And it deserves commendation, not the least of which because they're not going to be the last. It's going to come to other cities, predominantly blue and majority Democratic cities, because what ICE and CBP are doing is a terror campaign.
They're already going to do it
is
to Maine now.
That they are effectuating anything related to immigration at this point. And also, I will point out that there are a lot of people doing a lot of good. There are a lot of lawyers working.
Honestly, like, with how, like, cold it is in a lot of these places right now, I almost, like, maybe it's just good coincidence for them, but I think, like, the reaction's already been really strong with huge protests. I think they'd be twice as big if it wasn't literally, like, -20 in a lot of these states they're targeting. Like, they're seemingly targeting the coldest places in the country at the moment.
Over time, right after this happened, lawyers who had already received a temporary restraining order saying that ICE could not employ unconstitutional methods to restrain and punish all of the protesters, filed a emergency motion with the Court of Appeals to lift an administrative stay that was put in place, which is a thing that often happens. And it's insane that they would need a TRO in the first place to restrain these people en masse from conducting unconstitutional raids and unconstitutional methods. But the declarations from people who were on the scene and saw Alex Pretti shot with their own eyes, it's crazy that lawyers would respond within a few hours and get that in front of a judge. It's also, there was some parallel litigation from the Minnesota Bureau in charge of the investigation that was stymied by ICE, which is another thing for another day. Within a few hours, they had a motion in front of a judge seeking a temporary restraining order to prevent ICE from destroying evidence because they already mucked up the crime scene.
I mean, are we even surprised? They fucked up the Renee Good crime scene immediately, too. They do this shit on purpose.
The declarations and affidavits from people in support of that are also incredible. And another incredible thing that is within 2 hours, a Trump-appointed judge granted the TRO. And, these are not perfect mechanisms. It's something that in the past has helped to prevent ICE from destroying evidence, which I think they did in the case of Jonathan Ross when they took all of the stuff out of his house and put it God knows where. It probably goes without saying, but it's unfortunate and it's crazy that we cannot trust federal officers in the first place, but we also cannot trust them to investigate.
It's because they're not real federal officers. They're not real law enforcement. They're not real anything. They're a fucking paramilitary operation, acting as a private enforcement campaign for Donald Trump's Vengeance Brigade.
Also things that Congress can and should do immediately. Obviously, they should not fund ICE in the future.
Again, what did I say earlier? It's great when the majority opinion becomes what was just a few years ago a radical opinion of that we need to get rid of these horrid agencies.
That's the table stakes. We need to have serious curtailment of the immunity that exists. Federal officers do not have absolute immunity, but they do have strong immunity, and it is incredibly difficult to sue the federal government when you have had your constitutional rights deprived. Obviously, there's qualified immunity on a state level when state actors do that. It would be unbelievably easy for Congress to amend the current laws to provide a right of action for people to be able to sue, to remove qualified immunity unnecessarily, and to prevent all this stuff in the future, because the current framework for immunity for people who commit heinous crimes like these, I think it's untenable and it's disgusting. And then, of course, the people who are responsible for this at the very top need to be impeached. This is an impeachable offense. Like I said, I truly believe that this is, or some version of this is exactly what Donald Trump and Stephen Miller wanted. And in some sense, they have gotten what they wanted. And now it's time for them to be removed from office because they are absolutely unfit from top to bottom. It needs to be removed root and stem. And if you thought it couldn't get any more craven than it is, within hours of Alex Pretti's shooting, Pam Bondi sent a letter to Governor Tim Walz saying that,
man, I'm psychic today. I mean, honestly, there's not that much to add to the situation. This is all going to be really repetitive. I mostly wanted to see what the general vibe of people was, to see how concise and consistent the through line was. And it's very concise and consistent. There's not a whole lot genuinely to talk about this. We're rehashing a lot of the same things, which that also helps. Like, it helps people stay on task when it comes to directing their focus when there isn't a bunch of bullshit.
if they would turn over voter information, then they would withdraw ICE from Minneapolis. So if you want a confession that this was never about immigration and that on some level this is about winning the next election, and that if you thought that these people couldn't get any more craven, they can, and they will, and they did. I'm flabbergasted from everything that's happened. The thing that I keep coming back to is how incredible the people who are resisting are doing in the face of such adversity, and how they are rising to the occasion. I believe Attorney General Bondi said that this country was formed for respect for law enforcement. I actually think that could not be further from the truth. This country was formed by resisting and rebelling against tyranny, and that tradition is what I think people point to when they say,
I don't listen to that dumb bitch Pam Bondi, really. I'm trying not to, but she never says anything. The fact that she said this country is founded on respecting law enforcement is fucking hysterical. That is one of the most vapid, brain dead, out of touch, out of, or ignorant, lack of historical precedent statements I think I've ever heard. This is, and always has been, the fuck the police country, while simultaneously having the most authoritarian, oppressive enforcement agencies in the world.
That we engage in American activity, and we should continue to do so. I know people want to do something, and our options are limited. One thing that you can do that was recommended to me by commentator Will Stansel, who is on the ground in Minneapolis, is to donate to the Lawyers Guild of Minnesota, the ACLU of Minnesota, or Minarca of Minnesota. They are on the ground providing legal relief to the people who have been caught up in this terrible web, and are helping out the people who have been victimized by this reign of terror. So I'll leave some links in the description for that. Yesterday was a really
If you need to scan those, scan those. Anyway, let's move on to the last one.
We're talking about something very serious today. Throughout the video, you're going to see my shirt changes. It's not some kind of like crazy, wacky, magic trick from America's Got Talent or anything. I actually filmed this video earlier this morning when the story first broke. It's the killing of Alex Pretti in Minnesota at the hands of border agents. And I made the video, but I was pretty heated and I wanted to kind of simmer down and take a break, so I went out before posting it. I just got home, and now even more angles and videos have been released that show beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Honestly, I don't even think I've ever seen monotone critical heated, so I kind of would have liked to see that.
That this is a 100% unjustified killing of an American citizen here. And it seems like the execution stems from them finding out that he had a gun on his person. His Second Amendment rights. In all of the videos that exist, there is not a single moment where he is reaching for the gun, brandishing it, threatening with it, or anything at all, and we have video that shows the entire interaction from start to finish. His name was Alex Pretti, a 37-year-old nurse who worked in the ICU at Minneapolis VA healthcare system, and according to the police chief, he is a U.S. citizen with no prior interactions with law enforcement outside of a couple of traffic tickets, and believed to be a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry. So for him to lose his life being shot
I mean, again, kind of rehashing, but great seeing Charlie mad, because Charlie is kind of a renowned, somewhat of a fence sitter and pretend centrist.
multiple times by these agents, all because of him exercising his Second Amendment rights, which again, he wasn't trying to use as an intimidation tactic on the officers or anything like that. When they were beating him on the ground, pistol whipping him on the ground, they happened to see that he had a gun, apparently. He wasn't throwing it at them as like a threat or something, or brandishing it or anything. He simply had it on him, which he was well within his right to do, and he got murdered for it. This is completely unacceptable, and the fucking drones that are somehow like parading around like this is some kind of victory or something is sickening. It should be viewed as treasonous by any real Americans.
Again, that's love to hear that seeping in, that sentiment seeping into the mainstream. Yeah, it is treasonous. I mean, I don't really know who. Let's see if I can find this as a short aside. I don't really know who this guy is. I've never watched him, but I saw this fucking random TikTok. I think like sometime last night. See see. Can I look at my likes on here? And he had this radical this what I would call radical opinion. Yeah, Daddy Ditto. I saw his TikTok. He had what I would call a radical opinion, which I wholeheartedly agree with. That, like, not only do the people that are directly involved in this shit need to be punished, like, they need to go to trials and be criminally punished. Every single person in ICE is criminally complicit, in my opinion. And all of the politicians that are empowering ICE are criminally complicit. Every single one of them might as well have pulled the trigger with those officers. Every single one of them. They all hold the gun together. But we can't be given a pass to all the stupid people that voted for this guy twice.
Woke up and I saw a video of at least 5 ICE agents holding down a man and shooting him at least 10 times. Half of those shots after he was not moving on the ground. So that's how I started my day. Anyways, I don't think we should ever forgive the people who voted for this. I think we need to be so fucking harsh when this is all said and done, because I truly believe that a big reason all this is happening is because we did not punish the South enough after the Civil War. So I have an idea.
True. Like, just true. It's just true. We went with a forgive and forget mentality, and it was a mistake.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think every single person who voted for Trump in the last election should be charged with treason and a felon for the rest of their life. Because we can't.
I don't know about charged with treason, because that's actually like a death penalty thing. And I don't believe in the death penalty. But this next part, yeah, I think if you voted for Trump twice, if you only voted for him once, we'll just give you a stupid pass. But if you voted for him twice, or let's put it this way, if you voted for him 3 times, 100% you don't get to vote anymore. You do not have valid thoughts and opinions. You do not get to contribute to a society. You are a stain on the intellectual conversation of voting.
Nuremberg trials, though, because that would be genocide. That's like millions and millions of people. But if we can make them felons, we can say, hey, you betrayed this country, and you can still live here, because the rest of the world won't want them. The rest of the world will want nothing to do with them. So we should at least let them stay here. But we shouldn't give them access to vote, because look what they choose. And they should wear that shame everywhere they go.
Yeah.
Apply for an apartment, apply for everything. You're
I
a
agree.
felon. You don't like how felons are treated in this country? Well, we could reform that. Maybe that would drive that. But I think they should be permanently.
I don't know about the other things. I don't believe there's many things that you shouldn't be able to vote for anymore. This is the one thing that I believe. I think if you voted for Trump 3 times, if you voted for him in 2020 or 2016, 2020, and 2024, I don't think you get to vote anymore. You have created a chain precedent that you are either A, evil and vile, and I don't want you contributing to the vote anymore, B, stupid beyond fucking belief, or C, both. I don't think you get to contribute to the conversation anymore. I just don't. I think that's valid.
You see this footage. And they had the gall to say that Alex Pretti was like the instigator, labeling him a domestic terrorist. I saw from a couple of places.
Man, the way domestic terrorist as a definition has been stretched, blown up, sucked off, and spread-eagled basically means anyone who's had a thought is a domestic terrorist at this point. The only people that aren't domestic terrorists by Pam Bondi's expanded domestic terrorist definition are the empty-headed morons that voted for Trump 3 times.
That he approached these agents with a 9mm. He approached them with a gun looking to start shit. But that is not true. In all of the videos you see, he has a phone in his hands. Not a gun in his hands, he has a phone in his hands. No sane person would ever mistake a phone for a gun. This is blatantly obvious what they're trying to do. And it's something they've been doing a lot recently. Trying to tell you that what you're seeing isn't real. Trust their words, not your eyes.
Yeah, the reason the conservative chuds were talking about 1984 so much is because they were reading that shit and they were like, they got some good fucking ideas in here. This is a playbook. Let's run it. Line for line.
That is completely fucking outrageous. And people are willingly doing it. That's the craziest part. There are people that are like, oh, I saw he had his phone, but if they say it was a gun, well, that must have been a gun. I cannot believe we've reached this level of brainwashing. There are so many angles of this, and in every single one of them, you can see he has his phone in his hand, and at no point during this interaction did he ever, like, pull a gun on them or anything. And in fact, in one of the angles, you can even clearly see that the agents actually took the gun from him prior to him being shot. You can actually see what looks to be one of the agents disarming him, taking the gun out of its holster and walking... Well,
I'm so glad that I wasn't crazy when I saw that. And that I was like, I hope everyone else sees this as clear as day as I do. Because it was like one of the first things I noticed when I rewatched it. Like, the first thing was just anger. Then I was like, I have to absorb what's going on to see exactly how angry I need to be. I'm gonna be angry no matter what, but let's look at all 7 of these motherfuckers involved and look what each one of them is doing. See which one of them specifically pulled the trigger first, and try and think about what lack of thought was running through their head when they were committing this murder. So I watched it 2 or 3 times, and I was like, that dude took his gun. And then they shot him. And then I started seeing a bunch of the close-up angles, and now I'm hearing it as a repeated thing. I'm so happy I wasn't crazy. I'm so happy that everyone else seems to have noticed it. Because, like, the original footage was pretty grainy, and it was hard to tell. The only time you could really see was in the first video I saw. The guy who takes it runs straight towards the camera, and you could see in his hand, as it's, like, kind of, like, magnified by a car that he runs in front of. It's kind of, like, magnified by the window for a second, and you can see it in his hand really clearly, and it's like, oh, he didn't have that when he leaned down. So then I was, like, looking at him being like, did he pull out a gun? Is he the one that shot? But no. He pretty clear, and then in another angle, you can just straight up see him take it out of the holster. But
running away with the gun prior to him being shot.
yeah. The angle I first saw was over to the side. This one isn't even the clearest angle, but that's still incredibly clear.
There is something even more clear that I think is completely irrefutable for anyone that's actually looking. An agent takes Alex's gun out of its holster in front of the agent that pulls out his gun and shoots him. So he can see the gun has been taken out of the holster, and it is clear Alex Pretti has both hands on the ground. He does not have a gun in them. And an agent reaches in and takes it out of the holster right before another agent pulls out his firearm and shoots him in the back.
Honestly.
Just in case you somehow missed it, look. The agent in gray has his hand on Alex's weapon, which is still holstered. It was never unholstered.
This is the
agent
angle that I
takes it
saw
out of its holster
where
before
it's
he
like,
runs away with
it's
it, and the officer right next to him is the one
unmistakably
that pulls out
obvious.
his gun and shoots him. And now I want to show you the clearest video that shows everything that happened here and how it doesn't go how the authorities are saying that it did.
Yeah, this establishes way beforehand.
That was Alex Pretti you saw walk by the camera right there. He has his phone in his hand, and then with his other hand, his open hand, no gun in it, is waving cars through. There is clearly no brandishing of a firearm here. He is not approaching agents with a gun or anything like that, and you will never see anything even remotely close to that happen.
Go. What the fuck is wrong with you?
In this section, you can again see Alex Pretti has his phone in his hand, and now he's trying to get some of the civilians away from these fucking worms that are now starting to push them. And then one of them got pepper sprayed, and then he got pepper sprayed as well. And when he gets pepper sprayed, you can see his hand shoots in the air like a student about to try and ask the teacher a question. It is a wide open palm. There's no weapon.
Yeah, what are we gonna go with worm? I'm fine with it. I'm just like, we call cops pigs, or are ICE agents worms? I was gonna go with lice, because I thought it was funny. We could go the Gasano route, but I don't know. Worms serve a function, like they do things. Hell, even calling cops pigs, I think, is mean to pigs. But like, yeah, I think I nominate lice as the derogatory animal comparison for ICE agents. That's what I'm gonna roll with. Let's see if we can get that going. Yeah, they're lice. They're a parasite. A pest.
Weapon in that hand, and in his other hand is still the phone. There is no gun anywhere here, and now this is when he starts getting beaten by the multiple officers there.
The fuck, people? The fuck is wrong with you? Honestly.
This escalates so, like, I've seen it, like I said, a lot of times now. This escalates so fucking, like, this guy right here really does seem like he just decides to kill him all of a sudden for no reason. He's just, like, standing there. He's not even a part of it. Then the gray guy gets his gun.
I'm gonna stop
or
the
takes
video
his
right
gun.
here
Yeah, the guy in gray takes his gun.
This is when Alex Pretti gets shot to death. This fucking subhuman coward, you can see, pulls out his firearm and shoots him in the back, and then shoots him multiple times after as Alex Pretti lies on the ground. You can hear one of the agents says gun, and that's when this brain-dead troglodyte pulls out his firearm and starts shooting into Alex while he was still surrounded by his boys, mind you. This is like the antithesis to all training that agents go through, by the way, to shoot into a suspect while still being surrounded by authorities. You're going to get your own people shot too, by the way, you fucking moron, you unbelievable homunculus. So he immediately starts dumping into Alex because someone said gun. But the gun, from the other angles we can see, had already been taken away from Alex, out of his holster. You can see one of the other agents running away with it. But again, he was never brandishing this firearm. And as an American citizen with Second Amendment rights, and a lawful gun owner by all available information, he was allowed to have that gun on his person. It is not grounds to execute a man because you fucking freaked out and panicked because the guy you were beating and pistol whipping with fucking 5 of your friends happened to be armed. He wasn't using it to try and, like, shoot anyone here or threaten them. They saw the gun, and then this guy just freaked out and murdered him. Shot him multiple times. This is indefensible. Completely indefensible. And the fact that they even took him to the ground in the first place and started beating him, with one guy pistol whipping him, by the way. In other angles, you can see a guy just, like, pistol whipping him like he's trying to hammer a nail in with his gun. Like, it should have never even been acceptable for that to happen. All Alex Pretti was doing was filming, and then when some civilians started getting pushed, he tried to help. And when one got pepper sprayed, he tried to help. From all available angles and evidence and videos here, it seems to be that's all he was doing. He even made an effort to try and show that he's not like a threat or something. Like he threw his arm in the air, wide open, nothing in his hand or anything. He wasn't fighting back against the officers. He got taken to the ground and then immediately started getting beaten. Like, all because he was fucking filming and trying to help other people around there, it seems. This is so fucking sickening. And the freaks that are cheering this on and parading around like this is something to be celebrated are just scum. You're not even American. You're a fucking drone if you act...
Yes. I love this, I love this rhetorical angle that everyone seems to be picking up, that if you support this, you're un-American, you're a drone, you're a bot. You're anti-American.
Actually think this is a good thing. All you care about is just like sucking wiener from the authorities now all of a sudden. You care more about just being on a team than you do thinking for yourself. It's fucking tragic. It is embarrassing. This is crazy now that I'm seeing people justify this guy's murder because he had a weapon. Wake the fuck up. This is America. You can carry weapons. I sometimes carry a gun in public. I have friends who every day carry. It is your right as an American to carry a firearm if you so choose. That is not grounds for a murder. And based on all of the video footage, all of the available evidence, this guy was not brandishing it or anything like that. Thus, he wasn't threatening anyone or about to shoot someone with it, so they had to kill him to stop him. That doesn't seem to be the case. They're now just using the fact...
Yeah, I mean, I said this too. It's just, all of this is going to be rehashed 1,000 times because there's just not really very many perspectives you can have. It's either you can have eyes and you can understand what is and isn't allowed, what should and shouldn't be allowed, or you're groveling, boot-sucking maggot.
That he had a gun as a justification to kill him. That should be extremely alarming to anyone who cares about 2A. Like, again, him having it should not be an issue. And any real, actual American, like a real patriot, should be arguing for his right to carry.
You know, fucking crazy enough, this seems to be extra one-sided. I saw the fucking RNA actually stood up for, or NRA, I mean. Yeah, the National Rifle Association. The NRA fucking stood up for Alex Pretti. Saying that it's not okay to kill... Like, I never thought I'd see that happen.
Because it is something that we have the right to do, and that should not be a justification for this man being killed by these agents. This point that they're trying to beat into the empty minds of a lot of people that are trying so hard to justify it is that the only people being arrested and targeted by ICE are rapists and pedophile illegal aliens. Which is just not
do it.
The case.
Do it, Charlie. Do it. Point out how there's more rapists and pedophiles in the White House. Do it. I believe in you. You could be radical.
There definitely have been rapists and pedophiles that have been snatched up in all of this. And those rapists and pedophiles that have been caught and taken away, that's good. They shouldn't be out there breathing the free air. Great. But that's not all that's happening here. You could also right now march into the White House and arrest everyone in the White House, and you would get a ton of rapists and pedophiles.
Yes, he said it! Oh, that's what I'm saying. I love that every one of these lines is becoming a mainstream line. Fucking great, Charlie. I love I was really hoping you were taking it that way.
Why isn't that happening? If the goal is getting rapists and pedophiles off of American soil, thrown in the slammer, taking them away from society, why is it only just walking through the fucking streets of Minnesota trying to do it? You would get significantly more rapists and pedophiles if you took ICE and brought them to the White House. An administration is actively covering up a massive child sex trafficking operation and letting tons of evil people get away with this, tons of clients. So if the goal is to get this kind of evil out of this country, why would you not start with what is provably a spot that has so many of them? Also, that belief of like a secret pedophile ring was a very popular one among Trump voters for the longest time, and now that it has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be real, legitimate reality, they are now just ignoring it. They have been proven correct that there was a huge pedophile ring of these powerful politicians, but because some of their favorite politicians are potentially wrapped up in it, they just want to drop it and forget about it. Absolutely unhinged, by the way. It's crazy. So many people for the longest time were adamant against like government surveillance and Big Brother watching them being a huge concern. Now, plenty of people are welcoming it with open arms and a huge smile on their face. For the longest time, people would be preaching about the importance of the Second Amendment and gun rights. And now, even with this, they're saying, well, he had a gun, which means that's an executable offense. So it seems like they now no longer believe in Americans' right to own guns or carry guns, which was a core component of like the right for a long time, where there was like this big fear about they're coming for our guns. And now the same people that were arguing like to protect that are now arguing against it, saying, well, this guy deserved to die because he had a gun with him. It's a fundamental right of Americans to have guns, gun ownership. You can carry them in public too, like that.
I mean, I'm fairly certain there's legal precedent that even opening carrying a gun is not is not like grounds that you were going to like use it in a harmful way. So like I think even if he literally had it out in his hand, it's not even necessarily acceptable.
Shouldn't be killed for that. And in the footage here, it doesn't seem like he was brandishing it or anything. And also, the same people that only like a year and a half ago were constantly telling you to question the government, that you can't trust anything that comes out of the government, the authorities always lying to you, are now just willingly, blindly, unquestioningly following any...
Oh, that's because the news is all right-wing. Like, right-wing billionaires bought all of the mainstream news organizations, and all of them are fucking just Fox News Light now, so they're all just parroting the same shit. They never had a problem with the news. They had a problem with the news saying things they didn't like. That's all it's ever been. The fake news is just... they're telling the truth. Now they're lying, and they're making my fifis feel good, so it's fine.
Thing authorities tell them to believe in, and shut out any and all thought, and just have the hive mind think for them. It is crazy, because it seems like the only actual belief of some of these fucking brainwashed drones is relentless cock gobbling. All they want to do is swallow boots and penis from the government.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They're boot-loving maggots.
So if the administration or the news, which they used to hate the news, but now that the news just parrots points from big government that they like to clap their hands at like seals, they now just trust all of it all of a sudden, even though there's been no big change with these mainstream media outlets, by the way, that they used to not trust only a year and a half ago. But now, anytime they hear something from the news or anything that comes from the government, they will just immediately accept without a second thought, and then attack anyone else that is saying differently, or even just probing them to maybe think a little bit more about the narratives. Keep in mind, the government themselves are currently not even complying with their own laws that Trump has signed, like the Epstein Transparency Act, where the
again, 1%.
DOJ is still putting up a fight and are over a month late to compliance with releasing the Epstein files. They are still fighting tooth and nail to not release them, and even recently, only a week ago, outright said maybe there's no court that can force them to order this. They didn't even say maybe.
Woman, it's not that hard.
It does it on purpose.
Do you want me to just do it?
I'm fixing it.
Uh-huh.
There, did that work?
No! Not even a little!
Okay, hold on. Okay, how's that?
This side needs to be tilted towards me. Wait. I'll just... This needs to be lower. Fucking woman.
Gave them a very charitable thing right there. They actually said courts can't force them to do this, and that if they don't comply, there's nothing anyone can do. They can't be sued. If the DOJ doesn't comply, go fuck yourself, pussy. That's basically their sentiment. They are not complying with their own fucking laws, and yet people are still willing to overlook that in order to just keep, like, playing for the same team. It's like it's a competition to see who can think the least, and who can regurgitate enough from the hive mind to be, like, the biggest super fan of their...
Oh my god. I might be a Charlie fan now. I just passively absorb his videos every now and then because he just says shit about current events and he's like popular, so I sometimes want to check in on what the Charlie zeitgeist is saying. Oh, this is making me so happy to hear though. Oh yes. I hope everyone's is suddenly radicalized as the Charlie man.
Side. It's fucking despicable. It's actually crazy. This is real sheep behavior. I know a lot of these people like to say sheep, sheep, sheep for the longest time, but now they are actually the epitome of that. Here's just a little thought experiment if you can break through the programming for a second. Imagine what's happening in Minnesota was happening under Obama or Biden, where there were masked agents
what is happening now in Minnesota is literally what they were saying was gonna happen if Obama was elected, if Biden was elected, if Clinton was elected. Like, they say that about every Democrat of my lifetime. And they're like, there's gonna be masked men in the street kidnapping Americans. They're gonna be killing us, sterilizing us, and turning us gay. They all fucking think like that. But it's all because it's always just fucking projection. Because it's what they want to do.
We're constantly surveilling you, and even at times asking for your papers, your documents to prove you're an American citizen. Constantly needing to provide your private information to these masked agents. And
Doug, the fact that we're having a papers please conversation, like, come on. That's literally Nazi shit. That's literally, like, dystopian, Stalin-esque, like, Soviet shit.
these agents also had killed 2 American citizens. What do you think your response would be? Would you be like, oh yes, please, everyone needs to comply with this. This is good. This is what I want. This is what I look for in Obama or Biden. This is what I'm happy about. Would you be as excited then as you are now in that scenario? My guess would be probably not, because you would rightfully view this as an infringement on your rights as an American. Your Second Amendment right, where apparently even carrying a gun now is a crime punishable by death. Like, this isn't something anyone should be championing for. But because it's become such like a team-focused sport, people delude themselves into thinking that they have to support this, and thus they will abandon all of their beliefs.
I like how he's saying that as team-focused sport, because it really has become, like, I hear this in so many just, like, of the average voter people, like, when you have all these different people that go up and, like, talk to people in rallies and stuff, and they ask them what they think about stuff, and they're like, oh, I don't really care, but it owned the libs. Oh, I don't really care, but it owned the libs. It's just, they just say that shit over and over. They're like, I don't really have any policy opinions, but if it owns the libs, it really is. It's like 50% of the voter base seems to just literally be in it because they think it's like it's like some kind of dunk game. It's whichever side can get the better dunks on each other.
In order to stay on this side. It's crazy to me. I truly don't even know what the solution here is, because people are just willingly, on their own accord, no longer trusting what they see and what they know to be true. They would rather just have the government tell them what to think and what's true. So that way they don't have to do any level of thought for their own. How do you fix that? I genuinely do not know. I have no idea. I don't know how you can watch this footage and multiple angles of this situation and still come out trusting the government's word on the series of events that unfolded when you can yourself watch the footage and prove them false. What do you do to someone that just refuses to at least try and see things clearly? I don't know. But it's fucking tragic, and it's only getting worse. It is so fucking out of control. I had to yap about this. I've been actually fuming all day. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.
Well, okay, that was the only other thing I had to react to. I think I'm gonna decide what game to play. I think I'm gonna end this stream so it stays as its own segment. In the VODs, then pick a game to play, and then re-go live. So I will see anyone that pops in a moment. Probably like 15 minutes, because I also have to make a thumbnail real quick. Although my thumbnails are pretty low effort fast, so it shouldn't take that long. Thanks for watching, and check out the next stream in a moment. I'm live 5 days a week, generally 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.